Something unprecedented just happened that will change everything you know about money and power, and most people have no idea it even occurred. For an entire century, one commodity has ruled the world like an iron-fisted dictator: crude oil. Nations measured their strength in how many barrels they controlled. Wars erupted over who got access to the pipelines. Our whole financial system was constructed around the petrodollar. The price tag on a barrel of West Texas Intermediate? That was literally the pulse of modern civilization. When oil prices jumped, global panic ensued. When they dropped, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. Oil was the absolute, unquestionable emperor of energy. But something shocking happened yesterday that has unoccurred since the crazy inflation days of 1980. The emperor lost his throne. During a trading session that historians will be analyzing for generations, something unthinkable took place. 1 ounce of silver became more valuable than an entire barrel of oil. Silver climbed to $72, oil stuck at $57. The silver-to-oil ratio just flipped upside down. To most people scrolling on their phones, this seems like some weird market glitch, like finding out a shiny coin is somehow worth more than 42 gallons of that black liquid. But if you understand how the 21st century actually works, you know this isn't a glitch at all. This is the moment the torch gets passed. This is financial markets finally confessing the truth. The age of burning stuff for energy is over, and the age of electricity has arrived. We're watching the greatest energy transformation in human history unfold right before our eyes. Think about it. For the past 100 years, energy has meant one thing: setting things on fire. You'd grab a carbon molecule, ignite it, and use that explosion to make a piston move. In that universe, oil was the supreme being. But we're entering a completely different universe now. Today, energy means controlling electrons. It means grabbing photons from the sun, converting them into electrons, and channeling them through wires into batteries. And here's the brutal truth. In this new universe, oil is completely worthless. You can't build a solar panel from oil. You can't create EV battery contacts from oil. There's only one element that can efficiently transport those electrons, the element with the absolute lowest electrical resistance of any metal you'll find on the periodic table. Silver. Silver isn't just some precious metal anymore. It's literally become the new oil. It's the physical form of our ability to store and use energy. The market has been incredibly slow to catch on. For years, investors dismissed silver as gold's less impressive little brother, a jumpy store of value that sometimes pretended to be money. But the companies actually using it, the Teslas, Samsungs, and massive Chinese solar manufacturers, they understood the real story all along. They knew something critical. Without silver, this entire green transition everyone talks about is pure fantasy. While news outlets obsessed over oil's death because of climate policies, they completely missed silver's birth because of basic physics. Oil prices are stuck around $57, and it's not just about too much supply. It's because oil has no growth story anymore. The world is becoming more efficient with every passing year. We're burning less oil for every dollar of economic output. Meanwhile, silver has rocketed to $72 because we're reconsuming more silver per dollar of economic output than ever before in human history. This crossover moment, $72, silver beating $57 oil, is the point where psychology shifts forever. It shatters the old commodity cycle we've known for decades. In the old world, commodities moved as a pack. Oil went up, silver went up too. But now they've split apart completely. Oil is something people are dumping. Silver is something people are hoarding. All that capital expenditure money that used to pour into deep water oil drilling, it's now flooding into solar farms and electrical grid improvements. Every single dollar pulled out of the oil economy eventually finds its way into the silver economy. Why? Because solar farms can't function without silver paste. Grid upgrades require silver contacts. Electric vehicles need silver connectors. We've essentially shifted from mining the earth for energy calories to mining it for electrical conductivity, and this shift, it absolutely terrifies the power structure. Our entire global system is built on the petrodollar. America maintains its superpower status because oil gets priced in dollars. Want energy? You need American currency? But here's a scary question. What happens when the world decides energy doesn't mean oil anymore? What happens when the strategic resource nations are stockpiling isn't that black liquid in barrels, but the white metal locked in vaults? We're transitioning from petro-geopolitics to electro-geopolitics. And this new game has completely different rules and a completely different map. The Middle East loses its stranglehold. Meanwhile, countries sitting on silver mines, Mexico, Peru, China, Russia, suddenly gain massive leverage. This silver surge we're witnessing isn't some short-term speculation game. The market is finally pricing in a harsh reality. The new oil is dramatically scarcer than the old oil ever was. We pump out 100 million barrels of oil every single day. But we only mine about 800 million ounces of silver per year. The scarcity mathematics is absolutely brutal. And prices are finally reflecting a fundamental truth. You can burn through oil and it's gone forever. But silver? Its usefulness never disappears. You can only misplace it. To really understand why silver has become the new energy king, we need to talk about something called EROEI, energy return on energy invested. Back in oil's glory days, you could literally poke a hole in Texas dirt and black gold would gush into the air. You'd spend 1 barrel worth of energy to extract 100 barrels. It was miraculous. Fast forward to today, and we're fracking shale formations and drilling 2 miles beneath the ocean floor. Now you spend 1 barrel to maybe get 5 back. Oil is becoming energetically expensive to produce. It's a star burning out. Now consider silver. Silver doesn't generate energy by itself, but it's the gateway material that makes solar energy possible. A modern solar panel, especially the cutting-edge TOPCon and HJT varieties, is basically a silver-powered energy collector. You invest some energy upfront to extract the silver and manufacture the panel. Then that panel sits in the sunlight for 3 decades, cranking out electricity day after day. The EROEI of silver-based solar infrastructure keeps climbing, while oil's EROEI keeps dropping. Silver is our leverage tool for capturing the sun's power. And thanks to silver's unique atomic structure, that single valence electron that flows with virtually zero resistance, it's the most efficient leverage tool we've got. Using copper or aluminum in solar panels instead is like trying to pry something open with a wooden stick instead of a steel crowbar. It bends under pressure, it snaps, it wastes precious energy. In a world desperately hungry for energy efficiency, silver is civilization's superconductor. This leads us to a fascinating contradiction in the silver market, the Jevons paradox. Economists predicted that as solar panels got more efficient, we'd need less silver. The exact opposite happened. Because panels became more efficient by using more silver paste, solar power became cheaper than coal. Because solar undercut coal on price, demand for solar panels exploded worldwide. So rather than conserving silver, the industry is devouring it at a pace that's genuinely frightening mining companies. In 2024 alone, the solar industry consumed nearly 250 million ounces of silver. That's almost 30% of everything mined globally. By 2027, with new HJT manufacturing facilities launching across China, that figure could hit 40% or even 50%. Imagine if the plastics industry consumed half of all the oil on Earth. Oil would be trading at $500 per barrel. That's the supply shock we're walking straight into with silver. Unlike oil, which has OPEC to adjust production up or down, silver has no swing producer who can just turn on the taps. Silver is mostly a byproduct. About 70% comes from mining completely different metals, lead, zinc, and copper. You can't simply start up a silver mine overnight. Even if silver hits $100 per ounce, a copper mining company doesn't really care much. They're there for the copper. The silver is just a nice bonus on the side. This means the supply of our new oil is inflexible. Prices could shoot to the moon and supply would barely budge. This is exactly why the silver-to-oil ratio flipping isn't some temporary anomaly. It's a fundamental structural break in how markets work. We're witnessing the revaluation of conductivity over combustion in real time. For the last century, the wealthiest corporations on Earth were Exxon, Shell, and BP. they own combustion technology. Over the next 2 decades, the richest companies will be the ones controlling conductivity. The mining companies sitting on high-grade silver deposits are the Exxons of tomorrow. But here's the catch that changes everything. Most of the easily accessible silver is already gone. The ore grades are collapsing everywhere. We're digging deeper and deeper holes for less and less metal. We're hitting a geological wall. Right at the moment when humanity decides it needs billions of ounces of silver to construct this green utopia, the Earth is basically saying, I don't have that much to give you. This scarcity is what's pushing the price beyond oils. Oil is scarce, sure, but we keep discovering more reserves, shale deposits, deep ocean fields. Silver is scarce, and we're not finding significant new deposits. Peak silver isn't a theory anymore. It's a documented reality you can see clearly in the production data. Mexico, historically the world's top producer, has watched its output plateau and then decline. Peru's production is falling. China is hoarding everything it mines domestically. The Western world is suddenly realizing it has built its entire economic future, this whole net zero by 2050, promise on the foundation of a metal it doesn't possess, can't extract, and can no longer purchase cheaply. This is what the energy crisis of the 2020s actually looks like. It's not people waiting in long lines at gas stations. It's factory assembly lines grinding to a halt because they can't source silver paste. It's solar projects getting canceled because the math doesn't work anymore. With silver at $75, it's the dawning realization that green energy is actually finite mineral energy. And the most finite mineral of all just became pricier than the fossil fuel it was meant to replace. Silver surpassing oil in price isn't just another market fluctuation. It's a geopolitical earthquake that will reshape global power. For half a century, the United States has wielded the petrodollar as its weapon of global dominance. We made a deal with Saudi Arabia, military protection in exchange for pricing their oil in dollars. This manufactured permanent worldwide demand for U.S. currency. Every nation needed dollars to purchase energy. But what happens when the global South, the BRICS nations, decides they're done buying oil? They want to construct solar infrastructure, they want electrification. And they need silver, so who controls the silver supply? Not the United States. America burned through its strategic silver reserves decades ago. The major players now, BRICS plus nations, Mexico, which is drifting toward BRICS, Peru, China, Russia. These countries control the new oil. We're witnessing the emergence of the electro-dollar, or maybe the resource yuan. China has already telegraphed this strategic shift clearly. They're aggressively accumulating silver and gold. They're limiting exports. They understand a simple truth. If they control the inputs of the energy transition, silver, copper, lithium, they control the entire 21st century. The price inversion between silver and oil is the market's way of saying it values the Chinese-dominated supply chain more than the American-dominated oil infrastructure. Oil at $57 means America's fracking industry is bleeding. It signals that U.S. energy dominance is fading. Silver at $72 means Chinese solar dominance is solidifying into concrete reality. This explains why we're seeing resource nationalism exploding everywhere. Mexico banning open-pit mining? That's not just environmental concern, it's about choking supply to drive prices higher. It's an OPEC-style play. We're heading toward an OPEC of Metals. Picture a cartel of silver producers, Mexico, Peru, China sitting around a table deciding export quotas. They could hold the entire Western green agenda hostage. You want to hit those 2030 climate targets? You'll need our silver. The price is now $150 per ounce. The West would have zero choice but to pay up. For individual investors, this shift from oil to silver represents the trade opportunity of the decade. The portfolio of the past was loaded with energy stocks, Exxon, Chevron. The portfolio of the future is connectivity stocks, silver mining companies, royalty firms. But this goes way deeper than just picking stocks. This affects currency itself. If the dollar loses its backing as the oil currency, what takes its place? Throughout history, when paper currencies collapse, societies return to metal. Gold has always been the money of kings, but silver? Silver is the money of ordinary people, and now it's becoming the money of energy itself. A currency backed by silver isn't just backed by some shiny rock sitting in a vault. It's backed by units of future energy production. An ounce of silver represents a future stream of kilowatt hours that will be generated by solar panels. It's literally energy money. That $70 price point is a wake-up alarm. It's telling us that the deflationary force of technology solar getting cheaper and cheaper has crashed into the inflationary wall of geology silver getting scarcer and scarcer. The era of cheap energy is finished. The era of cheap electronics is over. We're entering an age of hard physical constraints that can't be innovated away. In this new era, wealth won't be measured in paper derivatives or digital tokens floating in cyberspace. Wealth will be measured in ounces of the metal that literally keeps the lights on. As we watch silver climb toward $100, remember something crucial. This isn't a speculative bubble. Oil hitting $100 in 2008 wasn't a bubble. It was the market recognizing peak conventional supply had arrived. Silver reaching $100 is the market recognizing peak conductivity. The torch has officially been passed from one era to another. The old king is dead oil. Long live the new king silver. The real question isn't whether silver will go higher. The question is, do you own the new oil before the rest of the world wakes up to the fact that the old one is running on empty? Shift to serious, direct camera address. Here's what they don't want you thinking about. The government understands that this transition from oil to silver creates a massive national vulnerability. They already sold off their silver stockpile, and now they're in full panic mode. But when governments panic about strategic resources, they don't just print more money, they confiscate wealth from citizens. In 1933, Franklin D. Roosevelt signed Executive Order 6102, which seized gold from Americans because the government was bankrupt and desperate. In the next video, I'm going to reveal the real story behind the Great Gold Seizure. We'll expose the secret prosecutions they tried to hide, the legal loopholes wealthy elites used to escape, and the terrifying legal precedent that gives the president authority to confiscate your silver, and even your Bitcoin during a declared national emergency. Right now, today, you need to know whether that safe you own actually protects you or not. Hit that like button to safeguard your financial future. And subscribe so you don't miss the shocking history of America's gold ban. I'll see you in the vault.